On the 3rd of this month, at precisely 11 a.m., our team received a WhatsApp message. We didn't realize it then, but it would fundamentally impact the direction of an investigation we'd been working on for some time. It was from a lawyer wanting to tell us about an accident that had occurred that very morning. Her client, the only occupant, had been airlifted to hospital. Photos we were sent from the scene showed a car mangled on the driver's side. The result, we were told, of a burst tire. Any accident is concerning, but we had reason to be even more worried about this one. You see, the driver was supposed to be sitting in this chair. Her name, 𝗀𝗃𝗍𝗵𝗶, a Pretoria social worker and adoption specialist in private practice who'd already postponed 3 other interviews with us. On each occasion, she was either sick or in hospital. We'd been looking into her conduct for several weeks and believed she had serious allegations to answer to. At their heart, couples unable to conceive yet desperate for a family.
We had tried to have children naturally and with IVF, and it was a period of about 7 years.
Sonia 𝗀𝗃𝗍𝗵𝗶 and her husband then adopted a little girl. When they wanted to complete their family with a sibling, they approached 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗶, who was active on social media. With relatively few Caucasian babies up for adoption, it can mean long wait times, and so it was for Sonia. Eventually, though, the 𝗀𝗃𝗍𝗵𝗋s got wonderful news from 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗃.
It was in August 2021. Out of the blue, she sent my husband a message telling him, a birth family has selected you to be the parents of their baby. We were promised the baby a month before the baby was born.
Our experts say whether a baby is matched or promised, an expectation is created. That's why most professional social workers only match and ultimately place after the child is declared adoptable, which is not before a period of 60 days after the biological parents sign their consent to allow them to change their minds. In that time, the child should be placed in temporary safe care. Meanwhile, Sonia and her husband were asked for a 17,000 Rand birthing fee to cover the medical costs of the birth.
So if you don't pay this fee, you lose out on the opportunity?
I assume so, because she did say that we have to let her know whether we're interested or not.
When the baby the 𝗀𝗃𝗍𝗵𝗶 matched them with was born, she sent them this message and photograph. It was the festive season, and it seemed they'd have much to celebrate.
We started getting the baby room ready. We started receiving gifts from our friends and Christmas presents for the new baby. So we told our little girl that she's going to have a baby sister, Millie Rose.
But on Christmas Eve, 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗃 sent a voice note saying the mother had changed her mind.
So ja, hulle het besluit dat hulle regtig net nie kans sien om voort te gaan met die aanneming nie. Hulle het reeds die toestemming tot aanneming teruggetrek.
Our 5-year-old little girl is waiting for her baby sister. And we had to find the courage to then tell her. Almost immediately, she stopped talking about her baby sister.
But Sonia's story, it seems, is not unique. Shannon and Chris Staniforth had a similar experience when 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗃 matched them with a baby boy called Jackson before he was born. Then came the tragic news.
He passed away at 34 weeks during delivery.
We spent a long time mourning Jackson's loss.
Refusing to give up, Shannon found a new birth mom on her own, leaving 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗃 to handle the paperwork. And eventually, they were able to adopt a little girl. During our investigation, we found another 14 couples who, like the 𝗀𝗃𝗍𝗵𝗋, say they were matched with babies before they were born, and that they paid significant professional fees to 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗴𝗃 without ever receiving a child. But this is not where the allegations end.
On Facebook, we saw photos of all the moms receiving their new babies, the families getting new babies. And I believe that our baby was given up for adoption, but had been given to another family.
Tracking Sonia's suspicions, our investigation eventually revealed that this baby was in fact offered to her despite another family already being in the process of adopting her. Our attempts to establish whether there was a pattern to 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗆's conduct reveals other shocking facts, including that she's currently facing more than 100 criminal charges. In part 2 of our investigation, we delve deeper into 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗆's adoption agency and raise questions at the scene of her accident. We're investigating complaints about an adoption agent, 𝗀𝗃𝗃 𝗀𝗶𝗶𝗀𝗆, a Pretoria-based private social worker.
She'd promised us an on-camera interview, but just hours before I was supposed to pose my first question, her lawyer let us know she had been in a car accident on this very spot, frustrating our attempts to get any answers to allegations which were by now stacking up.
And perhaps the most serious of those is about the baby girl whose photo she'd sent in September last year to 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 and her husband, with whom she'd matched the child.
I have a picture here. Is this your baby?
Yes.
Shannon and Chris Staniforth have continued to have a relationship with their birth mother, whose baby they adopted in September last year.
I want to show you this message because in this message, we have 𝗀𝗃𝗃 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 promising your baby to another couple.
We're devastated. We can't believe it. It's beyond anything you can ever imagine. I think the most devastating thing is our daughter's been made to look like an item, like a commodity that you can send multiple pictures of and to other people.
Sonia, your suspicions were spot on. How does that make you feel?
I mean, I'm glad the baby's with another loving family at least, but I'm heartbroken.
But the heartbreak doesn't end there. Last year, a couple who asked to remain anonymous say they were matched with a baby by 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗃.
We were asked to pay 15,000 Rand, which is the private hospital fees for the birth.
They were told the baby was born healthy, but then 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗃 shattered their dreams.
The next day, she phoned us to say that the mother had decided against it.
Ben requested a refund, which was partially repaid.
She actually sent me a message from the birth mother saying that the baby is very sick. This baby is in hospital. Another month later, she left us a voice note that this baby has died.
The birth mother is named in 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗃's WhatsApps, so we decided to find her. We'll call her Mary, and her version was quite different to the one given to Ben. She had in fact considered an adoption with 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗃, but changed her mind within days.
I told everyone that I've decided to keep the baby.
It was several months down the line when Ben and his wife contacted Mary via Facebook, giving her the shock of her life.
And that's when I heard that 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 promised them my baby.
Jeez.
After knowing that I'm not going to proceed with the adoption.
To lie about you is one thing, but then to lie about a baby's death.
That made me mad. That made me, let me rather say, furious.
We showed her the WhatsApp she'd supposedly sent to 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗃, but Mary says they weren't hers. The questions building. Our investigation then took us in an unexpected direction. 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗃 once worked for another private adoptions agency called ProCare, but around a decade ago left under a cloud.
𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 was one of our associates since 2007 up until 2013. We trained her to do adoptions.
𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 is ProCare CEO. She alleges 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗃 doctored ProCare invoices.
She allegedly defrauded us, and we discovered that she would put her name and her banking details and then also the name of ProCare, so people can think it was ProCare that sent this document. You see, it was over 1 million.
Over 1 million?
Yeah, but the case against her at the moment is for about 600,000 that they got affidavits from.
Turns out 𝗀𝗶𝗃𝗃 is facing 107 charges relating to fraud and theft at ProCare, for which she's currently out on bail. And as that case has unfolded, 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 has become familiar with the type of stories we'd been hearing in the course of our investigation.
You know, the stories that some of the adoptive parents told us was just heartbreaking. You know, things like, oh, she couldn't, place the baby because the baby died.
Yeah, we heard that one a lot too.
It was time to talk to 𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗶𝗴𝗶.
Hi, is this Letitia? Hi,
This
Letitia,
would
you're
be the
speaking to
first
Martha
of
from
several
Carte Blanche.
attempts to arrange an interview.
Sure, okay.
Yeah.
So that is quite serious allegations, and I can promise you that that's not the case. Yes.
After agreeing to an interview with us, she sent us a text message to say that she's feeling ill and will no longer be talking to us.
Someone, though, forgot to brief her secretary, who let the cat out the bag.
She said she told you she's on sick leave. She was in a Zoom orientation that I couldn't interrupt.
But she's working. Is she sick or not?
Caught out, 𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗶 called back. She says the @ProCare matter is nothing more than a monetary dispute with her former employer.
There was no evidence that I did any fraud. I was an independent practitioner.
By you changing an invoice that was a 𝗀𝗀𝗃 invoice and going to clients that were 𝗀𝗀𝗃 clients and making them pay the funds into your personal bank account, that is proof of fraud.
The court hasn't found me guilty.
𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗶 admits that she has been asked to give reasons why she shouldn't be suspended from the South African Council for Social Service Professions. The council is of the provisional view that she acted unprofessionally based on an earlier case, a charge she denies.
I've never guaranteed any people. My last interview I have with every single adoptive parent, I tell them I am not able to guarantee you.
𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗃 says she ensures every adoptive parent signs a form confirming the birth parents have 60 days to change their minds, adding that she's done over 500 adoptions in 20 years. She continues that there's no provision in law saying a baby must be placed in a home while waiting to be adoptable, and that a baby can be placed with adoptive parents before it is adoptable, if the birth mother agrees. 𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗃 says it's a procedure used by all adoption specialists, is in the baby's interest, and is not seen as an issue by the courts. She says her fees are for professional services as permitted by the Children's Act, which also allows medical costs to be paid. She says the 𝗀𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 signed contracts specifying there's no guarantee an adoption will be successful, and insists the biological parents withdrew their consent. She says the 𝗀𝗀𝗃𝗀𝗃 and 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃 babies were born on the same day, and that the baby in the photo isn't the one adopted by the 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗀𝗃s. Denying she ever pretended to be someone else, 𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗃 dismisses Ben and Mary's story altogether, adding she can't respond fully without details of the people involved.
My dear, I'm doing this for many years, and this is really my passion. I am complying with the Act, so I'm available next week, Wednesday.
But as that Wednesday dawned, it appeared 𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗃 had overestimated her ability to stay well. We were again informed she was sick, this time in hospital, and another sit-down interview had to be rescheduled. For the last time, she assured us. Then came one final twist, the car accident. After visiting the scene, we spoke to eyewitnesses who said 𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗃 continued driving with a flat tire for around 2 kilometers. This man was behind the wheel of a truck heading in the opposite direction.
I saw the lady approaching from the front, and when she got right to the truck, she came into the side of my truck, hit me on my tire. Her bonnet went through underneath the back tires.
𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗃 denies some of what the eyewitnesses told us, saying we are biased and no amount of information she can give will change our agenda. But the intrigue doesn't end there. We discovered that 𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗃's 𝗀𝗃𝗃𝗃 trial had often been delayed because she was ill, as these sick notes show. And in a final dose of déjà vu, during that trial, 𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗃 was involved in a car accident. In her written responses to us, 𝗀𝗀𝗶𝗀𝗃 also added that the court had accepted her sick notes and absence after that car accident. She also sent us details for 5 couples she has assisted with adoptions who confirmed were happy with her services. But this week, several other couples laid charges with the police and made complaints with the council.
Thank you for watching our stories here online, and please subscribe below to become part of our YouTube community and be notified when we upload our latest content.